All right, here we go. It's championship week. The Bulldogs play in Boise, 7 o'clock Saturday night for the Mountain West Championship. We've got Coach DeRuyter here on 940 ESPN. And Coach, I don't know if a month ago anyone expected you to be here. How excited are you for this opportunity for your team?
Really fired up. I think you hit the nail on the head. The only people that believed that we were going to be here were our players, our coaching staff. Probably a little doubt in that group a little bit, the way we played, particularly after that Wyoming game, but really impressed with the way our guys rallied, the way our assistants got our guys to, really improve, develop during the year, and find ways to win. And just shows you that through perseverance what you can do.
What happened in that space between the Wyoming and the San Jose game? I think back to when Fresno State won the College World Series. They blew a huge lead in the ninth with 2 outs at Sacramento State, and that was like the low point. And all of a sudden, they went from there, and they didn't lose to anybody after that as far as having their season end. For you guys, was it something similar? Was that what revealed some things maybe you hadn't seen before?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit difficult to pinpoint. We had that rough start, so our egos were fragile. We come back with 3 wins, and then we had the 3 straight losses. And really, of the 3 losses, we probably played the best against Boise, and our guys got a little bit of belief, but then we got set back after the a bad Wyoming loss. And I think our seniors finally said, "Hey guys, this is it. We're not finishing our careers like this. We need to practice better. We got to have greater energy." That was a big part of it, and the other part of it is we said, hey, for us to win this thing, we're going to go with Brian Burrell, and he's really led us down the stretch. Those last 3 wins, hadn't played perfectly, but led us in a way that inspired guys around him and made plays to win football games.
How different is he as a quarterback today compared to what we saw from him in the fourth quarter at Boise the first time around?
Well, I think each week he's gotten better and more confident. You see some of the throws he makes now. He's throwing on time, in rhythm. Our offense is playing fast when he does that. Those types of things are what he's capable of, and we're seeing much more from him. We're still not 100% there, and he knows that. And that's why we go out and we practice to try to get there. But the fact that he has really improved his game is, I think, why we're in this game today.
Boise scored about 50 points a game since you guys have played them. How much have they improved, or have they done anything differently since that first week?
Well, just like most really good teams, you get better every week. They've certainly done that. Jay Ajayi has really exploded. They're doing more of their multiple tight end things, and then they're, in my mind anyways, going back to the old school Boise with the shifts, motions, multiple trades. They'll do their special trick plays all over the field, getting explosive plays off of that, and they're playing with a ton of confidence. Early on with brand new terminology and new coaches and stuff, you can see they weren't quite as smooth as they are now, and each week they're getting more and more confident. As a really explosive offense we're getting ready to face.
Seemed like they simplified their offense the last time you went up there to Boise because their quarterback had struggled. Just like Brian Burrell, have you seen Hedrick play better later in the season?
I think he's playing as well as anybody in the conference. He's always been a threat running the ball. He's extremely fast. He hurt us in that game, extending drives with his feet. But he's really throwing the ball in rhythm on time and hurting people with his feet. So he's a big time difference from a year ago or even halfway through the season when we played him.
Coach, how significant do you think it is that you guys were right with them the last time you went up there, confidence-wise, as opposed to if you lost by 3 or 4 touchdowns last time?
Well, I think it's significant in that our guys know that if we perform what we're capable of, we can go toe-to-toe with that group. Now, we didn't finish. We give them credit. They won the football game. But I think for a lot of teams, Boise's field has some kind of mystique, and I think our guys realize it's about their players executing it and our players executing. There's nothing to that field. Now their fans do a great job. They're going to make it loud. I'm sure it's going to be loud. It just makes it that much more fun when you get a chance to win on the road. Our kids did that a couple weeks ago in Nevada and faced the cold and a hostile crowd on senior day. Probably something similar, this week.
Granted, last year's championship game was at home, but with the guys that played in that game, what do you think they were able to draw from that
I don't know. It's 2 totally different teams. the fact that they, played with our backs against the wall and had to make plays, I guess is good for the guys that were in it. But you're talking 2 different seasons and 2 totally different teams, so I don't know. There's a ton to draw back on. If we had all 22 back, then maybe, but we obviously don't.
Talked about finishing, and I'm sure some of the fans left saying, well, why are you calling a left-handed shovel pass when you can run it down their throat and all that. There's all kinds of things people can talk about, but is there a way to turn that second half into a positive for your team moving forward, knowing you can't afford something like that against a team as good as the Broncos?
I mean, our guys know that. We know we got to take care of the football. I guess the positive is, we didn't play perfect and we found a way to win a football game. We did make the stops when we had to, cut an onside, kick when we have to. And we may have to do that on Saturday. So I think anytime you finish a game with a W, you learn from your mistakes, you try to correct those, and then move on to the next one.
Is this the senior leadership on defense that you expected to see from the get-go this year, and now it's materializing down the stretch?
Well, I think, Tyler all year long has been pretty consistent. And, Deron, finally getting that interception. The guy that's really improved down the stretch has been Carl. Seeing those guys step up, this month of November and play like you want seniors to play has been really, really gratifying. And, they knew they didn't want to end the season like we played against Wyoming. They determined that that's going to stop, and they've gone out and done that.
And Donovan Lewis has flown under the radar a little bit too, but he's had a pretty impressive season.
He really has. I think he's playing as well as any outside linebacker, defensive end in the conference. He's been a very physical football player. And as I talk to other head coaches, they notice 27, and they think he's a terrific player as well.
Coach, can you talk about that environment and why it's so difficult for teams to have success there?
Well, I think it's probably the second loudest in our conference. I think they've got a very educated fan base that knows to get on an opposing offense when they're on the field. They've had a lot of success there, and they know how to get after a team. So we'll obviously use some noise stuff practice this week, and have be prepared for a loud environment.
The magnitude of this game, has it hit everybody yet that you guys are playing for a conference championship, and how have the players responded?
Well, I certainly think and hope so. We had a really strange journey to get here. Nothing that we would have ever scripted, but our guys know all year long this is the goal. Get in this game and then hopefully finish and win this game. So they know it's championship week. We're playing one more week than most of the teams in the conference, and we get a chance on Saturday to write the next chapter, and hopefully it's doing it the right way.
I don't want to get melodramatic here and make Shannon Edwards recovering that onside kick as the greatest thing ever, but do you think there's a chance that a year from now you look back on that Hawaii game and say that was one of the most crucial victories for you? Because, without it, you're not going to the title game, you're not getting a bowl game, you're not getting all those extra practices, and the transition to next year is probably a little different. How big was that to win that game?
Well, obviously it was huge, because you talk about momentum. They went down, they scored on another 4th down. If we don't get that, now they've got all the momentum. They've got all the, and plenty of time I think was still left on the clock. That would have been difficult. We already found this year's, starting off 0-3, we're the first Fresno State team to ever come back and become bowl eligible, coming off of that. So we probably would have been similar to those other teams and had a long off season. But the fact that we're still playing, and to me, amazingly, you still have a chance to win the conference championship. That was a huge play. But there was a bunch of big plays. Deron's interception down in the red zone. He doesn't make that play, it's a different ball game. There was just a ton of plays that our guys made, and thankfully so.
And how much will next year's team benefit from the extra reps you guys are going to get over the next month or so?
Well, you always benefit from those, but looking at the schedule, if we play one of those early, bowl games, we'll be on the road recruiting a little bit when we come back from Boise, but we're only going to have a week and a half of practices, so it's not going to be the 3-4 weeks that you typically have. So it'll be 2 weeks from the championship game to those first bowls. So we'll see where they place us. If we get a later bowl, obviously you have more time, but less time vacation for our guys and their families. But any time that you get a chance to have those additional reps, especially for those young guys, is a big time help.